serving them up.
You know what surprises me the most about that?
What?
The 4Ks. I did not know that he was striking people out. I thought he was letting everybody hit home runs. But there is one way that Daisuke could help the team, if you ask me.
And how's that?
Well, every time that the Red Sox play at Fenway, they should use it as like a promotional thing, and they should call it souvenir night, because chances are, if you're in the stands while Daisuke is pitching, you're going to get a ball.
That's true.
So
that's very true.
Could help the Red Sox sell tickets, not that they need help.
Maybe they could have fans come in and pitch.
You know what? That might work. I think I could do just as good as Daisuke is doing.
I have a good 12-6 curve.
Yeah.
I could get outs.
Well, just the fact that it's a good 12-6 curve means you're better than Daisuke already.
Yeah. Well, let's move along and get back to these playoff series, because this is the big news too. This is what we're trying to get to. This is what we want to see, and this is what everyone's really talking about.
It certainly is.
So let's start off with the Celtics series, where the Celtics are taking on the Knicks.
Well, with the Celtics series, we asked the question, what are the keys for the Celtics against the Knicks? And Jordan's back again, and she tells us that she thinks that the keys are defense, period. If the Knicks are killing the offensive boards, then the Celtics will lose. And that's definitely true. And that's been a big problem of the Celtics in the past few weeks, few months. The Celtics aren't rebounding.
They're not.
At all. Not on the offensive side of the ball, not on the defensive side of the ball. And if you don't rebound, you give up way too many second chances to the other team. And a team like the Knicks, they're not the greatest in the league, but they're good enough that if you give them a second and third chance, they are going to score the basketball.
That's true.
And Celtics defense isn't what it used to be.
And the Knicks can score the ball. They're second in the league in scoring. They score 106.6 a game. I mean, they can score the ball. Defense is going to be key for this team. And if they expect to stop the Knicks, they're going to need to stop the offense. They're going to have to stop the perimeter players, stop the fast break, and they're going to have to slow the game down to a half-court game.
So let's just hope that the Celtics can, kick the defense up a notch, that the way they have in the past when they hit the playoffs. But the way this team is built, I'm not sure that they can do that. Other keys for the Celtics against the Knicks that I think are, first of all, the big three. They need to play like they want to be there, because lately,
Agreed.
They have not played like they want to be there.
No.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I've seen Ray Allen and KG miss a lot of shots that they were making at the beginning of the season.
This is true, but it could be a product of being tired.
I think so, and I think it's a good thing that Doc decided to give them the last 2 games of the season off. Hopefully they'll get a little bit more spring in their step. But if they're not scoring, we're not winning.
That's absolutely true, and I think another product of their scoring comes from the motor. And this is really what I think is the big key for this team, is Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo has been the motor for this team all year, and you have to have him playing well and dishing the ball out, getting guys involved, and it gets the team moving. It keeps the ball from sticking, as Doc Rivers likes to say. And the Celtics, the record shows that they're good when Rondo's playing well and dishing the ball out. They're 36-6 when he has 10 assists or more. That speaks for itself right there.
That's huge.
I mean, the Celtics need him to distribute the ball and be active. Just be active.
They absolutely do. And you've heard all these stories about Rondo being upset that Perk isn't there anymore, and that's the reason why he's not playing well. It's been 2 months. Rondo needs to get over the fact that Perk's not there anymore if that's what's causing this. He's a professional NBA player. He's an adult. If he's really that upset about Perk, then he doesn't belong in the NBA. If he can't play with one single player on a separate team than him, if he needs Perk to be as good as he was, then he's not as good as I thought he was.
Agreed. Well, enough of the Celtics. I mean, they're playing the Knicks tonight in a playoff preview.
Yeah, it's going to be more like an exhibition game.
Yeah, it will be a lot of bench play, but it'll be interesting. But now it's time for the Bruins. The Bruins are playing their playoff series Thursday night, as we have noted.
Yes, they are.
And we wanted to know same question as with the Celtics, what were the keys for the Bruins? And Kevin was kind enough to give us an answer, and he said, play their game and stay physical. Don't let the Habs draw penalties and stay out of the box. And, Kevin couldn't be more right. The Bruins need to stay out of the box. They've struggled with their penalty kill and their power play all season. And if they're committing stupid penalties, I understand that the Canadians dive. I know the Canadians take dives. I know that's their game. I know that's how they're going to play. But that's no excuse. You have to play smart and not give them opportunities to take those dives. You have to keep playing physical and just, stay with your checks, finish your checks, and just don't commit stupid penalties. Try and stay out of that box. That's important.
You just can't allow yourself to get caught in a position where you're going to get called for a flop.
Absolutely.
I mean, and let's be honest, there are some situations where it's just not going to be preventable because that's what the Canadians do. But the Bruins need to consciously make sure that they don't allow themselves to get into those situations as much as possible. Because if they end up in the box, that's the series.
I couldn't agree with you more. And their defense must be strong. The Bruins finished the season with 103 points. The Canadians finished with 96. And we all know that the seeding is the 3-6. And just on that, to piggyback that defensive comment, it's going to be kind of a defensive series because I think you have Carey Price, who's played very well all year, and you have Tim Thomas, who we already noted has played exceptional all season long. And it's just going to come down to goaltending, defense, and execution, really. I think a lot's going to have to do with just your hockey execution, just finishing plays, finishing checks, and playing crisp, clean hockey.
I couldn't agree with you more.
All right, well, what do we have next in our room of chat, our chat room?
Well, next in the chat room, we asked people what they thought of Manny Ramirez's legacy because, as we noted earlier, Manny Ramirez did retire. He failed his second drug test this year, and he decided instead of serving a 100-game suspension, he was just going to call it quits. That was the end of his baseball career. It's a Manny move. That's just Manny being Manny. Yeah, that's what it is. But you can't really blame the guy. He only had a contract for 1 year, and the contract was only for $2 million. It was an unpaid suspension. If he had been suspended for 100 games, that's more than 2/3 of the season. And it's just, not worth playing the last games. Yeah. And he has to serve this 100-game suspension if he ever does get reinstated on another team. I don't think any team is going to sign him with that over his head. So chances are Manny Ramirez is done. So we asked about Manny Ramirez's legacy, and Josh said that his legacy is he's the greatest right-handed hitter of all time.
Well,
you can't argue with that. The numbers speak for themselves.
You can argue with it because he had a little something that may have helped him. And that's the argument that's going to keep him out of the Hall of Fame.
Well, I agree with that. I do think that he probably will be kept out of the Hall of Fame, as he should be. But his numbers-wise do state that he is one of the greatest right-handed hitters of all time.
Agreed. Absolutely
And from that time period, we don't know who had help. We don't know who didn't have help from a little bit of substance. Chances are more did than didn't as far as the people who were doing well during that time period. So it gets real wishy-washy. But as far as his numbers go, he is that good.
He definitely is that good. And just to give you a little peek into what his numbers are, he's played 19 seasons, and he hit 555 home runs in those 19 series. He has a career average of .312. He was the 2004 World Series MVP, as we all know. Mm-hmm. And he's driven in 1,831 runs. That's not bad. He was a run producer, and he also was a 12-time All-Star. So, I mean, Manny, he was great, but, he had his downsides. He struggled sometimes, but that was just, Manny being Manny.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question when he was in his prime, he was somebody that you wanted on your team, even though every once in a while you'd get those balls that were hit to him in the outfield that he'd decide to roll around instead of catching and then throw the wrong way. But, I mean, that's Manny being Manny, and when he stepped up to the plate, he got the job done.
And, I mean, he drove himself out of just about every city he played in, and then drove himself out of baseball. So, it's sad to see it end that way, but, again, we've said it over and over again, Manny being Manny.
Yeah.
But let's move on. Time for Twitter chatter. And it's actually a Red Sox-themed Twitter chatter because that's, quite frankly, what everyone's talking about around here. I mean, the playoffs have kind of been overshadowed by how bad the Red Sox have played.
Really
I hate to beat the old dog here and keep, kick a man while he's down, but they have been bad.
They've been so bad.
Everyone really agrees with it. Yeah. Everyone in the Twitter universe, too.
Well, how could you not agree with it? Who's going to go out and say that the Red Sox are doing well right now?
I would like to.
Oh, I'd love to, if it was true.
But first, my tweet that I found, and I thought was pretty funny, in reference to what I had said earlier, was from Chris Sirico. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, but it was at Chris Sirico. And his tweet was, "The Red Sox postponed their game tonight due to a terrible forecast. And the weather's not great either." And, it's a good point by Chris. I mean, it probably was a terrible forecast.
Oh, it certainly was. Lackey's pitching tonight. So
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
dear God, you're right.
not a good forecast.
That's a terrible forecast.
It would be raining baseballs.
It would. And, I mean, let's just try and avoid that.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, Mother Nature gave them a gift.
Yeah,
and that's
let
good.
them take a day off, enjoy the rainstorm, regroup, come back and try again, and lose a few more games.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah. So my tweet that I found that
What
that
was
I
your
really
tweet?
liked, it was from Brian Mahler. I hope I'm pronouncing
that's
that
me.
right. Oh, well, I guess I did pronounce it right then.
Excellent.
Brian Mahler, and he said, "What's the over/under for home runs given up by by Red Sox pitching?" I'm taking the over, and I thought that you showed a great sense of humor, and
I did a little bit.
you did. You certainly did, and it
I have a great sense of humor.
made me laugh when I read it. So and and it's also a good point because if the over/under is hovering around 15-20, I'm going to take the over for any given game.
I think the over/under was 20.
Yeah. So
I took the over.
Take the over, absolutely.
I was definitely.
Especially because I believe that I found this tweet on the day when Daisuke was pitching.
Yes.
So
You did. So
you take the over.
looks like you should be taking the over on that night in it because he got routed 16-5 by the Rays, and that was just
Yeah.
terrible, bad, awful.
It was not fun to watch.
But it's bad news. Let's keep our focus on the good stuff that's going on. Let's keep our focus
Absolutely.
on the Bruins, the Celtics. They're going to the playoffs. They're in the playoffs, and let's hope that they're gonna be very successful.
Yep, and let's get loud. Let's cheer them on, and let's get behind our teams.
Yeah, get
because-
up, Boston.
Absolutely, because teams aren't going to win playoff series if you're not there cheering for them.
No, not one bit.
Yeah.
But that's our time for today. That's what we've got for you. And first, we want to give a little shout out and let you know where you can contact us. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can search us on Facebook with just search Sports Chat. And once again, the A is an @ sign. And we've added something to contacting us on Twitter because we weren't getting as much play as we'd like on our Sports Chat Twitter.
No.
So we've added our own personal Twitters. And mine is @Brian_Mahler, as you can see on the screen there. And RJ's is @RJ Parmerlo, as you can see on the screen right there as well.
Yep, and if you have to, hit that pause button on your DVR so you can spell my name right. I know it just looks like somebody threw a bunch of vowels at the end of it.
They did.
Yeah.
That's actually exactly what happened.
No, when I was born, somebody just took Scrabble letters and threw them at the end of my name.
Which was interesting.
Yeah.
But, and once again, all our episodes are on YouTube. Just search WA Sports Chat. So I think that's all we've got for everyone today.
I think it
Sorry
certainly
for
is.
such a depressing Red Sox show.
Yeah.
But hopefully our little friend Wally here will have something to cheer about, and our little friend Poppy.
Yeah, and hopefully next show won't be full of Daisuke bashing.
Absolutely. But, it's Daisuke. I don't know when you can't bash Daisuke. You can't bash him enough. But, that's what I think. So if you're not down with that,
We've got 2 words for you.
Sports Chat.